Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy to have you here. I hope everybody's doing well. Last venue in Oasis Springs is the museum. This is what it looked like before. I mentioned in the last video this silly skating rink right there in the back. Kind of ruined it, but pretend it's not there. And this is another building. I did not touch the architecture. I tweaked things and I redesigned it, but I left it pretty much the way you see it. And no color. I went very neutral with this one, but I felt like it needed it. Again, thinking realistically when I do this kind of stuff. Oh man, even I think I'm boring, so I just feel you're going to a museum to look at art, not the painting on the wall, the color of the floor, and everything that's going on around you and outside, the overly perfumed woman standing a couple feet away from you. That's not why you go to a museum. So that's why I chose neutral. However, way after the fact, way too late, I realized, of course it doesn't, well, no, see? I stayed away from carpet because I know nobody likes carpet. However, if you're in a museum, do you want to hear women's heels clicking all over the floor? No. And yet I went with marble and hardwood. And as big and hollow as these walls are, oh, that's going to be a pain in the butt. Well, it's The Sims. They'll get over it. They won't mind, will they? They don't complain about things like that. Well, I made mistakes. Not unhappy with this build. And it turned out very nice as opposed to the other 3 builds that I made. Well, you know what? The gym seemed pretty lively, didn't it? Yeah, this and the gym were doing quite well. My library was a total disaster. And the lounge, wow. I still don't know what went wrong there. But this had a pretty good turnout. Everybody was behaving themselves, so not unhappy with that. And yes, I do like the way it came out. I tend to make my museums basically the same way. Thinking, what would I want to see if I went to this place? And that's not even necessarily true, because I think it would be kind of neat to have like a, well, no, not for me, but I still think it would be neat to have an oddities museum. And I did try to dedicate one floor to that, but it didn't quite work out. I must have gotten sidetracked or something, because I think I spent a lot more time working out how the exterior would look and the first floor items. I spent way too much time on that. But I still think it came out okay. It's not the worst thing in the world that I've ever made. And obviously, well, redesigned. I just got rid of a lot of the windows. There was a bar in here for whatever reason. I got rid of that. But I did add something that I've never seen added to a venue before, and I hope you notice it and think that it's as neat as I thought it was. And yeah, I used that swan sign again. But I mentioned that in the last video. There isn't enough signage for these venues. There's only one for the gym, a very gym-specific sign. But it's hard to find one for the other venues, and that's kind of sad. Oh, there's one for the bowling alley, too, yeah. And restaurants, my goodness, are the restaurant signs. But not for museums, libraries, lounges. Well, no. I think, yeah, for a bar there might be 1 or 2. Lots of cafe signs and stuff like that. Not the ones you really need. So I put the 2 party items here. This is what I was mentioning earlier. So there's fruit punch in there and then an assortment. And I thought that was a pretty ingenious idea of mine. I'm sure you've seen other people do that. I just haven't. But I like the way that I broke things up, pieced things together. I don't mind it. I took away a bathroom and I used unusual toilets that were artsy. I figured it would go with this venue, so that's why I did that. Neighbor's outside talking. I'm sorry if you can hear him. I apologize. Oh no, they always wait until I do this. He's outside shouting on the phone. I apologize. Anyway, I'm not unhappy with the way this came out. There are things that I want to discuss, but it's too late in this video to start any of them. I just hope that you were okay with me sharing my opinion or viewpoint on certain items. I hope that's okay with everybody. I've always been afraid to do that because I've always been of the opinion, well, who are you to say or judge anything? I've always been that way. I do have opinions and I do have judgments, but I tend to keep them to myself because I don't want to get slammed for them. And again, that occurred so often in real life that I just learned how to shut my mouth and move on. I didn't quite learn how to shut my mouth, but I think you know what I might mean. I was so worried about that arch there. And that probably should have gone up on the 3rd floor. But I wanted it there as a focal point. But I was so worried that nobody was going to be able to get out that door. And they could, because there's artwork all over the place. I put all of the easels out on the balconies. There was no access to those balconies prior to my redesign. So you can get out. I had this tested by my sim, and you can get out to all 3 of these doors. You can use all 3 balconies, and you can use, there's 6 easels, 2 on either side of the balconies. I'm so sorry, my throat. Oh, I'm having issues, and I know my voice sounds like crap. I apologize. My throat just gets sore and sore. Is that a word? More sore? Sorest? Can you say the sorest thing in the world? Maybe it is more sore. It sounds dumb, by the way. But I like the way this turned out, and I hope that you guys do too. I also thank you so very, very much for supporting me and my channel. I really appreciate that. I hope you like this. I did. I think it came out pretty. Do have yourselves an absolutely fabulous day. Remember to take care of yourselves as well. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.